Hey folks, I got surprise. I kind of blow one of my little pancake engine, motor, not engine, but motor, who is inside here. And so I replaced it with my spare one, which I was going to use for the slicer, but now I'm short of motor, but that's okay. We'll figure it out. But normally when I break something, instead of just toss in the corner, toss in the garbage, I take it apart. I have to dissect it. I want to know what I did to it to break it in the first place, if it's just a company error or whatever, or just a bad design. So I took it apart, which is a sample motors and polished kind of cheap stainless steel, but it's got iron in it, and it's you can stick magnet. And as you can see, you have 6 magnet, north, south, north, south. They were glued there. 4 was end glue. And this is the other part, which is just a disc of steel, polished steel, which goes in the front of the motor, and he makes a little pancake motor, right? And that was for an electric bike, a small portable electric bike. So something I find out about all the little weak points. Again, I'm going to give you a close-up. See the 2 brush, they're side by side, so when they spin too fast, it's connect 2 brush together and melt everything up and burn the holder and everything. So that's what went. And also, the glue they use is not really heat resistant, so as soon as you get warm a little bit, just not extremely warm, just at the touch is warm, that glue gets soft and you can pop the magnet. So that's why I have 3 magnet glues in it. But to my big surprise, the motor, everybody, I'm crazy because I'm making a generator with no iron, right? Well, this technology, like I keep saying over and over, it's not new. They know about this technology. Matter of fact, I got a proof they know about the technology. This little motor, right? Here we go again. This tiny little motor, whoops, right here, right? Now, this is the motor. It's made out of plastic and copper wire coils, and you can see the coil. See the pattern of the coil into a 1/8 of an inch piece of plastic, balance. And here's a connector. And that motor is very powerful, way more powerful than most motor. So this technology I'm doing, it's not new. They know about that technology for the longest time. I mean, like, people were laughing at me. When you turn this motor, when you take the shaft and you turn it, it makes electricity immediately. It makes energy immediately. And I was wondering why they were so efficient. I was turning that motor and I connect another motor to it and make the motor turn right away back and forth just like it's a robot. That was the generator. At 1/8 of an inch disc with coils in it. Now, I mean, like, call me crazy, but if I wouldn't take that thing, just throw in the garbage, I would never find out about it. I know they have it, but I didn't know they were so blunt about it. That's how stupid we are. It's right in our face, and I can't believe it's there, but by doing so, that's what I do since I'm a kid. Since I'm 7 years old, I could hold a wrench and start taking it apart in a screwdriver. I took everything apart around my place. My dad used to scream at me because sometimes I was taking a very good automatic transmission. They save it, in case their transmission goes. And in the winter, I used to take everything apart. I want to see what the inside looked like. Same thing when we used to do butchering. Butchering cows and pigs and anything, moose, whatever. I was so interested in how the inside looked like, because you're learning something. It's something you never seen before. It's interesting. It's not the same. It's not a bloody commercial that's been said a million times. It's something new. You're learning how an animal literally functions, and learning how volt behave. It showed me how the volt was made, and by figuring that one out, I figured out also what Tesla was using to calculate all that. And I started applying all that together, and I discovered, holy macro, the way he was calculated, he was just moving volume. Some volume, the same volume, but some is much denser than the other one. And when you throw a dense volume to an exchange, it multiplied and amplified and magnified what you're asking for. And that's what Tesla came up with, is multiplication and magnification of energy. It's because it's giving something at a certain volume the other side, but because the volume is very dense, he will react in power on the way back. So the volume you're going to get back from that volume could be 1,000,000 times more. And that's what Tesla was making his calculation about how much more, when I gave that much volume, what I'm getting back. And he was pretty good at figuring that out. But he knew how to separate, to go back a little bit, we know about AC, DC energy for way before Tesla was involved into that. He was studying when he was a little kid. Everything was up with they call electricity. He had to study that. Well, he was curious, just like I was. But he was curious more than I was when I was a kid, because I was curious about too many things. So, but I find out how a lot of things works and how it is made and how much it costs to make it, because I researched that stuff, because that's very important in life. People don't learn that in school. That's why you have stupid today. They go out and pay $50 for something was manufactured in China, for probably maybe 18 to 20 cents. It's crazy. People walk around with fake diamond. They think they have a fortune. They've been lied to, like everybody else is lying to you. I mean, you can't find the truth if it hit you in the face anymore, because you don't know what the truth anymore, because everything is a bloody lie. And I want to correct something from my last video. When I said Chinese, they're like locusts, I didn't mean the Chinese who came here to live here because they were tired of the country, and they live side by side with us and make a living and develop and grow the city and working hard. This is not the Chinese I'm talking about. I'm not very sorry if I offended those. It was not my intention. What I'm saying is all the rich little boys from the rich one who starved the population. That's what the first one came here, and we gave him access to the land and to develop their stuff also. But what I'm not talking about is those little prick that got sent from China here, buying some $5 or $6 million house, and then suddenly they're controlling what's coming in here. So they're the one controlling the Chinese society in Vancouver, because they're controlled by the Chinese mob. I mean, they bring here all kinds of stuff, but I didn't say anything bad. I don't want to say anything bad about the person who moved here and they raise their children beside our children, and they're having the same struggle. Not those ones. Those ones, they're real people from China. But it's the other one who controls everything around here and cram their strength. And who knows what happened in Chinatown at nighttime? Do you ever know what happened there? I sure don't know. I'm not sure. There's a shitload of stuff happening in Chinatown every night, because it's controlled by that mob. But this is the correction I want to do, so I'm only going after the bastards making us and them suffer at the same times. But going back to this here, if you don't know how a volt is made, how you can manipulate it, okay? Einstein didn't know. That's why Einstein is an idiot. He didn't listen when Tesla tell him your theory of relativity is wrong. But hey, he keep on selling his lie, and they bought it. So we have a way. Tesla shows us a way how to split the positive and the negative of an iron electrons, or ferrite electrons, if you want to call it. He was very good at manipulate that electron. When he found out what DC was and all that stuff, he became an expert. He said, oh my gosh, I can do that way better than that, right? All I have to do is, they used to use always, laminated, because I guess it was, and screw together, and all you had to do is cut a groove into it and shove a different type of electron material in the groove and press it there and then connect all the end of the wire together. They used to put 4 grooves. That gave that rotor a 4 field, 2 south and 2 north, because it separates automatically the electrons in the iron. So this iron became a very weak magnet immediately with 4 phase on it. And that's how Tesla separate the electrons. And then he could make that as a motor, because now you didn't have to worry about it. If he induced the outside with a current, an alternative current, with the AC current he invented, right? Alternative, well, actually it's not alternative, it's called AC current. Alternative is on off, and AC current has the AC wave, which is a wave signal. So he created that so he could feed his motor, which was way more efficient than any other motor at all. Like, all the Tesla's electric motor he designed, they beat everybody by 80% efficiency. So I mean, he know how to do it because he understand what is electrons and how many types of electrons we have. We have thousands of types of electrons because all material carry different electrons. That's why aluminum and copper don't stick together. But Tesla, before he died, after he worked for the government in the United States for almost 21 years, and he came out and he died shortly after that, he managed to take the electron of wood and split the electron in one piece of wood, separate the electron, the north and the south, or the positive and negative electrons, and that piece of wood literally stuck to any other wood. It became a wood magnet. And that was done very, very, very close to when he died. So we're talking about maybe 5 or 6 months before he died. So he had the capability of manipulating all that. But his message has been right in front of our face. All we have to do is look at his work, not looking at his goddamn garbage paper we're getting in book, because those are literally a lie. Right? Look at his work. It's called that reverse engineering in your mind. Take that, look at it, and then make it run inside your head, and why is running, and ask that question and answer it before you ask another why. Also, always answer the why question. Why it's run. Answer that question. Then you're going to come up with another question. Answer that one at a time. Don't jump it. I jump a few, and it cost me time. All you do is put you back into the starting line again. So you don't want to step the why. You got to stop. Stop doing what you're doing and answer that why question before you go back and testing again and running other stuff to learn more about it. So, it's just too bad people, they don't understand we having way more than one pair of electrons in this world. Way more than one pair. And we have probably, millions of pair of different types of electrons, which they'll all have a small effect on each other. But also communication, digital communication require, is a signal with the absence of electrons. That's what is instant. That's why it's so fast. It don't get distorted by time because you have nothing to stop them. You have no electrons. Now, analog had electrons in the communication. They were literally sending wave, and they had, a signal in it which carry electrons. But they were slow, because now you're moving a body. If the body, if you have no weight on your body, then it's easy to move. So you remove all the electrons, so you have literally no weight. That's the true gravity. Remove all the electron of anything, and gravity of this planet will not account for this weight anymore. It will not be bearing on the weight, on the gravity of the Earth gravities, because it have no electrons. Look, we've been doing that. Like, what do you think is going on when the old day when we had a fax machine? Beam me up, Scotty. You take a piece of paper with a picture in it, you put it in the fax machine, it scans it, it breaks it down, it creates a code on it, it compresses it 2 or 3 times, and it bursts it out. Jeez, that almost sounds like beam me up, Scotty, because guess what? It reappeared thousands of miles away and in a guy's fax machine. You got a fax. Oh, you press, boom, there's the picture. It moved 1,000 miles away without traveling. But it traveled through time because, you know, he took a little while because he had to go through wires all the time. But now it doesn't, because now we have resonance. And then, just for example, if you understand resonance, then you know what the optic cable work on. Light. Optic cable work with light. Light. That's not resonance to you? Oh, yeah, light. Yeah, resonance. That's how we're working with. Everything is about resonance. But you have to understand, resonance is not a sine signal. It's what you don't see. And much you make out of that, more potential you got. And you have to know how much resonance it takes to make a hertz. You know, because without resonance, you have no hertz. Without no hertz, you have no volts. Because it's all tied up. Volt is a volume where the earth is to convert itself to a volt. You have to make the step. You got a whole lot of resonance on a time zone, and then it's got to jump now. So soon that volume of resonance hit a wire, a copper wire, aluminum wire, whatever, stainless steel wire, it makes volts. It converts the resonance into a volt. And then you can use that volt on the outside to do whatever you want. You can convert that to whatever you want. But if you don't know how to make a volt, how the hell you're going to try to manipulate and create something efficient on any type of work in electricity or electronics or whatever? You can't. So I mean, this technology is not new. They have it, the big corporations have it. Obviously, China's got it, right? So, what the fuck they got we don't have? This. Because we're stupid. Right? Obviously, because I find out, when I opened that up and I saw that, for half an hour, I feel like a jackass. I had those motors in my hand for years. That's not new. Those little fold-out electric bike, when you travel, you can travel with your bike. When you get someplace, you fold it, and that thing goes 36 volt, and it lasts for half a day, and you can move around. That's old technology. And they have it. And then people laugh at me with a drum motor. I still have, you can't find, for the amperage you put into it, you can't find any motor who's got more torque than a drum motor. It's that simple. You test it out yourself, And now we're having a few people that almost getting into understanding what I'm trying to say for the longest time. We need a controller who can actually push out volts. More volts, more frequent resonance. The volt is a pile of resonance. It's a volume of resonance. So more volt you got, more resonance you got. Like, to turn this light on, it cost me 120 volts, right? To run one of those tiny little bulb there, right? Those are a plasma bulb or neon bulb, they call it, right? They flicker on your extension cord. Well, those little bulb, they use no amp whatsoever. That's why they cost nothing. When you get your extension plugged on, you see a little red light flickering, right? Because they don't run on amp, because they're not connected together. They run on resonance, and the resonance make the little thing glow red because it creates a plasma. So it takes, to activate those bulbs, it takes a minimum of 100 volt. And you can only put so much into it, and it will burn out because you're going to melt, or you're going to burn the glass. The glass will melt over, and then it stops. No vacuum, it's no jumping. So just the understanding how those little guys work, it gave you a pretty good idea, what we've been working with, we've been lying to. It's pretty simple. I mean, like, you know, this is the thing we have to really look and do the research, and people think it's taking me a long time to come up with something. Well, you know what? You know, I don't see anybody else doing it. Like, you know, I do see other people who's working and they're testing my stuff and they're all coming up with pretty much the same answer I got. You know, we didn't understand what it was coming out of it, but now I know. I mean, like, you know, why I take picture of stuff around me. I know what the camera would just an app, a thermal imaging app, and a smartphone. And when I was running the machine in my other place, we took picture of an entity around us, and I got probably about 50 people who actually saw the picture, and it just blew their mind away. You know, I mean, like, because it's very simple. I'm creating a three-dimensional of electromagnetic field. So I gotta have a magnetic field is in 3 dimensions. Well, everybody said, what's the big deal? We live in 3 dimensions. Well, fuck it, I have news for you. We're not living in a 3 dimension. We're living in a 2-dimensional world with perception. Now, 2-dimensional world, it would say, well, it can't be, everything look flat. Yeah, remove a person's perception and they see everything flat because she have no depthness. She can't tell if an object is closer to the other one. Everything is flat like a picture you draw on a piece of paper. 2-dimension, right? But you throw perception into it, and suddenly that picture become, you know, we call them 3D, but it's not. It's just perceptions kicking into it, and they say, oh no, I got that tree's farther away than this tree, and oh yeah, there's a mountain behind, and it's space and all that. You can percept all that. That's called that perception. When you go see a movie, and it's a 3D movie, and they give you those glasses, all they do, they amplify your perception you already have. That's why they don't work on someone who doesn't have a depthness of sight, they have no perception. They don't work. And if you don't believe me, find it out yourself. Okay? Because people have no perception, not because they're colorblind. This is another perception. A lot of people have no perception how far another, or how wide it is and stuff like this. They have no perception. They see the world flat. And they have a problem with that because they see the world flat. They still can maneuver and move, but they don't see the world the way we see it. So, but, you know, that's what research is all about. Now, you know, it's really bad. It's not bad, but I mean, like, you know, it's into a field now. It's like beam me up, Scotty. I mean, like, what could you do with that after you truly understand, you know, how the element work? Since we can take a picture, break it down to data, and send them up, you know, now through the air, satellite, back over there, and put all the pigment, the pixel back together. I mean, this is like beam me up, Scotty. I don't know how you want to call that, right? I mean, like, everything is being moved now with no electron. That's why it was so fast. So I mean, like, you know, the military play with that. I mean, they playing with that, like, you know, same thing with they can go after a human body, a special cell whatsoever, and just play that frequency, and that's what people are, you know, the skin want to burn. I thought it was the water that would heat it up first thing, but no, they're just going after one cell in your skin. Because if it was the water, your whole body is 80-some% water. Your whole body would feel like it's boiling from the inside. So that wouldn't be a good feeling. But just the skin, what I understand is everybody tried this thing, only it feel like their skin's on fire. So they would go after a cell who oscillate in a certain frequency, and they bombard that frequency out to overwhelm that cell, and it starts heating up, just like any other cell. I mean, iron heat up with the friction of a magnetic field. A smooth piece of pipe, if you spin a magnet, it get really hot, and there's no friction there. But it's a friction from the magnetic field. It's getting dragged against the iron constantly. So I mean, like, I'm not the expert at it. I mean, like, you know, it's still a lot more I have to understand. But I tell you right now, for sure, if you do not understand what an electron is, you will sit in that box and you will die there. You know, the understanding the electron is probably one of the most, I would say, the most important of the whole research. And you know, I tried the stuff. You know, I used myself, and I saw that I knew what it could do. You know, I mean, in my own body, and drink, food, anything I put on there, it was changing everything up. You know, and people trying it, and it's been tried now. I mean, it's, a lot of people they're using this machine, and it does stuff to you. It's because it's in a true dimension. Because only a dimension above the one we have can actually come up and take your tissue or manipulate your tissue with not really you feeling it. I mean, that's the only way they can do it, because they have no electron. Third dimension doesn't. Because I'm proving it here, on this counter, on this bench here. You know? So, more and more, I'm going down deeper and deeper in the rabbit hole. And hopefully I won't take a bad turn, because that rabbit hole is just not a straight tunnel, believe me. It's many fork, many T's you run across, which way you're going to go. And I took the wrong one a few times, believe me. And I had to come back, right back to I started and try another one, because that was not the right one. And it happened, so, but don't be fooled. Like, you know, follow your instinct. I mean, your instinct is probably one of the most pure thing you ever going to own in your whole life. Is instinct. You follow your feeling. You know, if it doesn't feel right, you know, inside your chest, if you have a doubt inside your chest, listen to it. Right? If it doesn't feel right, listen to it. You know, if it feels good, believe me, it's like a little voice in your head. Go for it. Every time I listen to that voice, I discover new stuff. Every time I didn't listen to the voice, I either damaged stuff or it's not working at all. So, they call me crazy, but you know, that little voice there has got to be counting for something, because it's loud and clear. You know, it screams at you constantly. And that feeling, the gut feeling, yeah, that's the little voice inside was kicking your ass up from the inside. So, I mean, like, you know, I don't know what to say anymore, but at least we discovered by breaking something, but, you know, we figure out something. I'm not the only one who's been working on plastic and copper with no iron. So there, I can't be that crazy if I can figure it out on my own. So I'll see you another time, and when I get more information, I will let you know what's going on, guys. So hopefully I don't bore you to death. So see you next time. Bye. Now I want to show you something. I took my generator apart, pulled the motor, and I was showing you the inside of the motor is literally plastic, and it's got tin coil inside the plastic, as you can see. Right, they make a loop, they make like an oval loop from behind. You can see the return, right? So, and it's kind of interesting, all the contacts of where the brush ride, the conductor, I guess, they're all tied up together. It's no pattern in it. Everything, that's where the two little yellow dots there. Let's see if I can. Okay, those two little dots. That's where the points, the brush contact, right? And I try to figure out the pattern of winding, and they all connected all together. They all show connection to each other. Weird, very weird. But when you spin that motor, which is no iron here, you know, it's just copper, right? There's no iron in it. When you spin that inside the casing, right? Watch the meter. I'm making volt, DC volt. No, I'm just spinning by hand. So you're telling me now that a generator have to be with iron? Like really? I mean, for all the engineer out there, you know, this is what the motor is, and this what could be a generator. It doesn't have to be iron. So I think we're using a technique the wrong way to be able to do that. But that's just what I wanted to show you here. So, okay, here I'm going to give you a very close up of the number of that motor. Okay, that is as clear as I have it. Now the symbol, and you're gonna have to, if you're looking for it to find those motor, the company who makes that, you're gonna have to go by the symbol. So there you go. That is the number, and that is the symbol. Pretty clear. All right. Now I'm just gonna explain, take a good look about that motor, you know, do a little bit of study on it and look what is good and bad. This is a very good design. This motor has got the potential of probably one of the best motors beside the drum motor for the thickness and smallest area you can utilize this motor. The only thing I don't really like is you only have tiny little groove on the shaft to secure the shaft inside the motor, and that's a very torquey motor, so I can see a problem coming out there if they don't come up with a better design on it. And the brush system is terrible. This is, I'm going to give you a close look, I believe. Hang on. Because I got the machine zoom, it won't do it. All right, got interrupted there for a minute, but that's okay. Now, since I explained, I'm not too fond about the little scratch on the shaft there to hold it to the main motor parts. That's what the torque is all about, to spin the shaft. But also the brush system, the kind of very flimsy. They have a tiny little thing that goes with a spring, and that goes over, and that's the brush are too close to each other. So that's, I don't know, there you go. They're very weak, so I would make a much better brush holder. But this here is very, you know, I'm going to be playing with that. I'm going to make another motor. I'm going to make all the part to fit that. I'll put another shaft. I'll build different type of brush holder, and I'm going to be playing with that for a while. This motor, compared to the drum motor, I would say would be either your second best if you want a brush motor, straight DC motor, and also it can be used as a generator, which is a kind of interesting. So a lot of tests I like to do on that little motor, and also I will try to contact and find out the company who makes those motors in China. And I you know, everybody want to do the same thing. Be my guest. You got everything. You got, you know, the number I was showing you before. So I mean, you know, the way the magnet, you know, the way the motor look is a sample motor, pancake motor, right? So it's nothing to be, you know, to be shocked about it. So, all right, that's about it. So the good and the bad about this motor is just a little bit of lack of putting some decent shaft holder and better brush system. Besides that, it's a fantastic motor. So yeah, that was a little bit I wanted to show you. I was thinking about that last night, because I played with motor like this before, and I was wondering, you know, when I was tidying a couple of motors together, DC motor, you spin one and the other one mimic. Like you spin really slow, the other one will mimic. Like, what are we really doing in here to transfer that little energy and make it move? And now by understanding the resonances, when we spin that, we're flashing against the magnet, where our north south, the magnet or not there, all you see is the space of the magnet with the magnet with glue, because it was some they were loose in there, so I took it up and stored it away. But they're a very powerful magnet. So the little disc literally spin on the front of the magnet, so the magnet don't move. Smart. That way we don't have to worry about the magnet flying away and killing people. But really, all that the magnet does, if it's not, all it does is just like a solid brush. Just like this iron brush here, right? And all that this is doing is riding against those prickles, which create resonance, and the wire itself. And the wire turn resonance to copper, because now he's got a little highway to play with. But just saying, for all the engineer, again, I'm not the only one who's playing with this technology. Now, what else do they have we don't know yet? That's what you have to ask your question. What else? Because I didn't discover that, obviously, right? Somebody else has been using it for a long, long time. Those bags are probably about 5 or 6 years old. So, really? Just saying.